Right now at 6, the trial for the first of 5 suspects in the Foolio trial in Tampa, now underway today. Alicia Andrews is accused of helping stalk and track the rapper last year in what authorities called an ambush-style.
The first official day of Foolio's murder trial set a shocking tone right from the start. As proceedings began, one of the 5 defendants appeared completely unfazed, casually doing her makeup and laughing in court, as if the gravity of the situation didn't apply to her. The judge maintained composure but moved swiftly through procedural matters, excusing a juror named Mr. Jimenez while confirming that one alternate juror remained available. Meanwhile, local reporters from Fox 13, who had been covering the opening statements that morning, described the atmosphere as tense and unsettling, a mix of courtroom formality and eerie indifference from some of those accused. It was clear from day one that this trial would not be like any other. The laughter and casual attitude that marked the start of Foolio's trial vanished the moment the court played the emotional testimony of his cousin, the man who had been in the car with him during his final moments. Fighting through tears, he described waking up from a light doze to what he initially thought was a car accident, only to realize the horrifying truth. "I looked up and saw the holes. I saw Z yelling," he said, confirming that it was Xavier Edwards covered in blood and calling for help. His trembling voice filled the room as prosecutors showed photos of the scene, and even the judge paused to ask if he was okay. The defense then took its turn, with Alicia Andrews' attorney passionately asserting her innocence, insisting there was no proof she had any involvement in the attack or ever wanted harm to come to Foolio. The jury, he argued, wasn't just there to pass judgment. They were there to right a wrong. But the tension only grew as the prosecution began naming more individuals allegedly tied to the case, including rapper Yungeen Ace. The courtroom fell silent as the state claimed Foolio's death may have stemmed from a long-standing feud fueled by diss tracks and online taunts, with a haunting question left hanging in the air. Is Yungeen Ace up next?
So you fell asleep after that, after he came back to the car, or you started dozing?
Yes.
Can you just tell the jurors what you saw inside of the car at that point? You said you saw Foolio laid out?
Yeah, first thing I saw, Foolio laid up.
As the courtroom delved deeper into the tangled web of Jacksonville's street rivalries, the judge ordered more information on those connected to the city's violent feuds, a development that spelled trouble for Yungeen Ace. Not long after, it was announced that Ace had abruptly canceled all his upcoming tour dates. Some believed he was bracing for a possible federal case, while others speculated the authorities were strategically restricting his income, making it harder for him to secure top legal defense. Frustrated, Ace took to social media to vent, accusing Jacksonville police of deliberately sabotaging his shows across multiple cities, from Tampa to Virginia. "While trying to mess with my money. I don't even live in Jacksonville no more," he said, clearly exasperated. But things only escalated from there. During trial proceedings, prosecutors unveiled new evidence showing that Ace had allegedly sent a meme to one of the suspects right after Foolio's death, a photo of a Don Julio bottle, which investigators claimed was a taunt directed at the slain rapper. Realizing how serious the situation had become, Ace publicly distanced himself from his past affiliations, tweeting, "Ain't no such thing as ATK no more. That stuff is gone and over with." But by then, the damage was already done, and his name was firmly entangled in the case's unfolding storm.
Does the defense wish to make an opening statement at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Malcolm, you may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there was no evidence whatsoever.
When Yungeen Ace announced that he was officially dissolving his crew, ATK, the move backfired spectacularly. Instead of clearing his name, it only deepened suspicions. His sudden disassociation made people wonder if he was trying to distance himself from guilt rather than from the streets. The speculation reached a boiling point when DJ Academics confronted Ace directly, asking if he had anything to do with Foolio's death. Ace's nervous laugh and vague response didn't help his case. "People think I'm behind a lot," he said, "but I'm not. I'm just grinding, working, taking care of my family." Still, the tension was thick. Not only did Academics doubt him, so did much of Jacksonville. Just before the trial, Sheriff TK Waters issued a public warning to Ace, and what was left of his ATK crew after suspects tied to Foolio's murder name-dropped them during an interview. According to police reports, the attackers were connected to ATK and another local group known as 1200, and investigators believed both factions had coordinated to target Foolio's circle as part of their long-standing rivalry. The trial files went on to reveal chilling details, including Foolio's final words, the motive, and the aftermath. But to understand the tragedy, you have to trace it back to the start of that fateful weekend. It was supposed to be Foolio's birthday celebration in Tampa, a weekend filled with parties and good energy, until his social media posts turned it into a setup. He rented an Airbnb and proudly shared the address on Instagram, inviting thousands to pull up to his pool party. Within hours, the event spiraled out of control. Loud music, a massive crowd, and angry neighbors brought police to the scene, forcing the landlord to evict everyone. But Foolio didn't slow down. Instead, he doubled down on Instagram, posting flyers for a nearby club, complete with the full address, and later sharing another update showing his exact seat in the upstairs lounge. What was meant to be a celebration had unknowingly become an open invitation to danger. Foolio's final night took a dark turn that began with one simple Instagram story. In the clip, he could be seen hyping up his birthday celebration, surrounded by friends, saying, "We deep everywhere we go." But that post, meant to show love and energy, ended up being a digital breadcrumb trail straight to his location. Not long after, a group chat between several suspects reportedly formed, where they shared screenshots of Foolio's stories in real time, tracking his every move. Among those who arrived first were Alicia Andrews and her boyfriend, who parked across the street from the club, watching closely to make sure Foolio didn't leave before the rest of the group arrived with what authorities later described as equipment for the job. But the situation became even more disturbing when new claims surfaced, suggesting multiple crews were after Foolio that night. A chilling video confession circulated online, where a masked man bragged about being the one who handled Foolio during his birthday weekend. He claimed there was a bounty, allegedly placed by Yungeen Ace, offering $10,000 to whoever carried out the hit. Ace had that money on his head, the man said, insisting he was loyal to ATK and frequently moved through Jacksonville with them. Whether the confession was authentic or just someone chasing attention, it painted a grim picture. One where social media, ego, and street loyalty collided in the worst possible way. The masked man claimed that the hit was inevitable, saying Ace had grown tired of Foolio running his mouth, and that what had to be done, had to be done. But while the online confession spread like wildfire, the events of that night painted a chilling reality. After hours of celebrating inside the club, Foolio and his team decided to call it a night. His manager located a nearby Holiday Inn just down the street and led the crew there, hoping for a quiet place to rest after the long evening. When they pulled into the parking lot, Foolio stayed behind in the car while his manager went inside to check in. That's when everything changed. A suspicious vehicle rolled into the lot, slowly maneuvering to block the only exit. At the same time, 3 figures emerged from the shadows, crouched behind nearby bushes, armed and ready. Their target wasn't random. According to investigators, their mission was clear and coordinated: find Foolio and finish what had been planned.
Ain't no more ATK, it ain't no more. What you talking about, eh? You don't do shit, you don't do shit, you tripping. Everybody always got shit to say, when the time for the Lord to be paid.
Within minutes of the tragedy, Jacksonville news outlets confirmed what fans feared most: Foolio had been pronounced dead. But shock quickly turned to outrage when, less than half an hour later, Young and Ace dropped a new track titled "Do It," a brazen diss aimed directly at Foolio. Reporters quickly noted the timing, describing it as a direct response to the rapper's death earlier that day. As if that weren't enough, Ace's close associate posted a screenshot of a tweet from the late King Von that read, "Game over. We won, stupid." In the song, Ace even flipped Foolio's own lyrics from "When I See You," the infamous track that mocked Ace's fallen friends. Foolio had rapped, "Went out to eat on his birthday. For hit, 3 passed in the worst way. He kept dissing on me, and now we hittin' 23." Ace's version struck back coldly. From the car, one of them gone, 3 got hit. The cruel irony wasn't lost on anyone. Foolio was killed in his car, on his birthday, the 23rd day of the month. The following day, police uncovered a live stream of Ace and his mother laughing about the incident, taunting those mourning Foolio's loss. Things escalated further when Foolio's mother, a nurse with no gang affiliation, was reportedly targeted and shot 8 times. In her police statement, she allegedly named Young and Ace as the one responsible. Since Ace was already under supervised release, authorities moved quickly, summoning him and preparing to detain him for questioning. But the real turning point came when someone within ATK decided to cooperate with federal agents. That informant allegedly revealed the true motive behind Foolio's killing. A month before his death, Foolio had publicly spoken about wanting to end the Jacksonville beef, even suggesting a peace record featuring both sides. For some, that interview was seen as hope. For others, it may have sealed his fate. Investigators soon began to suspect that ATK's truce with Julio Foolio had been nothing more than a setup, a calculated move to lower his defenses. And it seemed to work. That night, Foolio flooded Instagram with more than 40 stories, openly showing his whereabouts and movements. According to a cooperating witness within ATK, the entire plot was payback for the death of ATK Mitch, who had been killed in April 2022. Ironically, that same month, Foolio was stopped by police while driving a Dodge Durango with tinted windows, a minor violation that quickly escalated into a deeper inquiry. Once officers recognized who he was, they placed him in the patrol car and questioned him about Mitch's murder. There are some detectives who just want to talk to you real quick about what happened to Mitch, one officer told him. Foolio, knowing the gravity of the situation, kept calm and insisted he had nothing to hide. When asked about Mitch, he replied that he was in Miami working on music when he saw the news spreading online. Detectives pressed him further, probing into how close the two had been and whether he had any insight into the shooting. Despite their efforts, Foolio stayed composed and denied any involvement, repeatedly saying he didn't know who was responsible. "Brother, I don't know who did it," he told them. "You'll never know. I was in Miami at the time." Still unsatisfied, investigators shifted focus, questioning why Foolio's music often mirrored real-life crimes in Jacksonville, noting that his lyrics described violent acts with uncanny precision, details that only someone close to the events might know. To them, it was more than coincidence. To Foolio, it was art imitating the world he lived in. When federal agents began connecting the dots between ATK's movements and Julio Foolio's death, they also uncovered that the motive traced back to vengeance for ATK Mitch. During questioning, Foolio was asked whether his music or the aggressive tone in his lyrics might have influenced any of the violence around him. He firmly denied it, saying, "A song can't make nobody do nothing, bro." But while Foolio tried to distance his art from the streets, Young and Ace appeared to blur that line even further. After the feds began circling, Ace went live on Instagram, speaking about Foolio with an odd mix of mockery and respect, as if he wanted to look remorseful while also keeping his name clean. "We was cool," he said. "I told him to chill, to stop moving that way. You know it's love here." Still, investigators believed there was more beneath the surface. Some theorized that Ace's real motive was deeply personal, revenge for his brother's death. In earlier reports, detectives claimed Foolio had once tried to target Young and Ace, but during that attack, Ace survived while his brother tragically died beside him in the car. That night haunted Ace for years and may have been the reason tensions never eased. Whether out of retaliation, pride, or pain, one thing became clear. The cycle of loss between both sides had spiraled far beyond music, and neither man could escape the shadows of what they helped create.